Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at standard 7.rp.a.3. Use proportional relationships to solve multi-step ratio and percent problems. Examples: simple interest, tax, markups and markdowns, gratuities and commissions, fees, percent increase and decrease, percent error. Our vocabulary terms: interest, a fee paid to a lender when borrowing, or money paid to a person for investing money in the bank. Interest is expressed as a percentage rate. Simple interest is interest calculated as a percentage of the original amount. Principal is the amount of money borrowed or invested. Rate of interest is the fee in percent for money borrowed or invested. When you borrow money from a bank, you pay interest for the use of the bank's money. When you deposit money into a savings account, you are paid interest by the bank. Simple interest is one type of fee paid for the use of money. The formula we'll use for simple interest is I equals PRT. And we know that whenever we have letters next to each other, it implies multiplication. So it's P times R times T, where I represents the simple interest. P is the principal, the amount that is being invested or borrowed. R is the rate of interest as a decimal, and T is time represented in years. To buy a car, Tiara borrowed $15,000 for 3 years at an annual simple rate of 9%. How much interest will she pay if she pays the entire loan off at the end of the 3rd year? What is the total amount she will repay? So we're going to start by writing our formula for simple interest, which is I equals PRT. We know that 15,000 was being borrowed. It's going to be over 3 years. It's at simple interest. This is important. And the rate is 9%. And there are two parts to the question. How much interest will she pay? And then also, what is the total amount she will repay? So let's go ahead and plug this in. So 15,000 represents our P, which is our principal. And then we're going to multiply that by our interest rate, which is 0.09. So the rate is converted to a decimal. And then multiply that by time, which is 3. You know what? Let's go ahead and use parentheses to represent the different numbers so that there's no confusion. 15,000 times 0.09 is 1,350. And then we're going to multiply that by 3, which is equal to $4,050. So in interest, she'll be paying $4,050. Now to answer the second part of the question, we must now combine the principal plus the interest to get the total amount. And we'll just use A to represent the total amount. So here the principal was 15,000. We're adding the interest we calculated of 4,050, and that will give us our final answer of $19,050. So this is the answer for the second part of the question, $19,050, and the interest amount is $4,050. To buy a laptop computer, Nathaniel borrowed $2,000 for 18 months at an annual simple interest rate of 2.5%. How much interest will he pay if he pays the entire loan off at the end of the 18 months? What is the total amount that he will repay? So here again, we go ahead and rewrite our formula. I equals PRT. And then we're going to go ahead and plug in. So the principal amount is 2,000. The time is 18 months, but we need to convert that to year. We know there are 12 months in a year, so this is actually 1.5 or 1.5 years. And the rate is 2.5%. So that gives us 2,000. Converting the rate to a decimal, it's 0.025 times 1.5. 2,000 times 0.025 is 50. And then we multiply 50 times 1.5, which is equal to $75. So the interest that Nathaniel would pay is $75. It says, what is the total amount? So now we need to add. So we're going to take our principal plus our interest to be equal to the total amount. So the principal is 2,000 plus 75, which is equal to $2,075. And that's our final answer. Alexa's parents deposited $1,000 into a savings account as a college fund when she was born. How much will Alexa have in this account after 18 years at a yearly simple interest rate of 3.25%? So again, we're going to start off by writing our formula, I equals PRT, and then we're going to plug in those amounts. So 1,000 is our principal, 18 years is our time, and 3.25% is our interest. And we want to know the total amount she will have after those 18 years. So we plug in our 1,000. Our rate when converted to a decimal is 0.0325 because we have to move two places. And then we're multiplying by 18. 1,000 times 0.0325 is equal to 32.50. And then we multiply that by 18 for a total amount of $585. Now we need to go ahead and add that to the initial amount. So we have here P plus I equals A. So the principal is 1,000 plus 585, which gives us 1,585 as our amount. Okay, so after 18 years, there will be $1,585 in Alexa's account. Mr. Berry opened a retirement account with $1,200 at a rate of 4.25% per year for 5 years. Mrs. Waters opened a similar retirement account at the rate of 4% per year for 5 years. How much more did Mr. Berry receive in interest than Mrs. Waters after the 5 years? So we're going to have to do two separate calculations. So let's go ahead and split our paper. We'll put Mr. Berry over here and Mrs. Waters over here. So Mr. Berry is 12,000 at a rate of 4.25% and 5 years. Okay, so let's write our formula. I equals PRT. So this is equal to 1,200 times 0.0425 times 5. Let's go ahead and multiply. So 1,200 times 0.0425 is equal to 51. And then 51 times 5 is equal to $255. So his interest earned would be $255. Now, when we go back to the question, it just wants to know how much more did he receive in interest than Mrs. Waters. So I don't need to actually add this to the principal amount. I can stop here and then go ahead and calculate Mrs. Waters' amount. So I'm going to write the formula for her as well and then plug in the numbers. So her principal is the same as Mr. Waters, so 1,200. However, her rate is 4%, so that's 0.04. And she's also for 5 years. And we can go ahead and calculate. 1,200 times 0.04 is equal to 48. And then 48 times 5 is equal to 240. So after 5 years, Mrs. Waters would have received $240 in interest. So now let's go back to the question. How much more did Mr. Berry receive in interest? So the concept around how much more means we'll need to subtract. So we're going to subtract 255 and 240. And we see here that the difference is $15. So Mr. Berry earned $15 more than Mrs. Waters after the 5 years. Thank you for watching and have a great day.